On Thursday night, Drew Doughty of the LA Kings goes down hard and exits the game favoring his left ankle. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dr. Stephen Wilson, and here on this channel, we discuss the mechanism of injury in sports. So if this is the type of content that interests you, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. On Thursday night, the LA Kings are in Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. Here we see number 8 for the Los Angeles Kings defenseman, Drew Doughty. He's skating on the back check here, trying to make a play on the puck, and we're looking at his left ankle as it gets awkwardly jammed into the yellow part of the paint along the boards there. Coming up here is a little bit of a better angle. We'll get to see exactly the mechanics of his ankle here, how it twists into the boards. So we'll slow it down a little bit here. What we want to pay attention to is Doughty's left leg. It is outstretched right here. And we'll move it up, and you can see how his left skate blade then gets pushed up against the boards. And a little bit further on, we can see what happens to his ankle here. So in this position, we can see how his skate blade is almost vertical and his toes are pointing up, which reduces the angle between his toes and his shin bone, his tibia here. So with his toes forced up like that, that forces his foot into a position we call dorsiflexion, and with the inside of his ankle forced flat against the boards there, that's forcing his ankle into a position of eversion. So with that forced dorsiflexion and eversion simultaneously, what that is going to do is going to lock his ankle into a very stable position. There's not a lot of movement in his ankle joint right now, therefore all the stress then has to be transferred, all that energy has to be transferred onto the soft tissue. Mainly his AITFL and the syndesmosis. Those are the connective tissue that hold the distal or the bottom part of his tibia and his fibula together. When you stress those areas, certainly Drew Doughty is going to end up at the very least here with a high ankle sprain due to that forcing of his ankle into eversion, into dorsiflexion at the same time, forcing his ankle into a very awkward position that will also stress his fibula as well afterwards. Let's take a look at the anatomy page here and we'll correlate exactly what's going on. So here we see a picture of a left leg. We'll kind of move it around here. We can orient ourselves at the top here. That's the femur. Of course, we have your kneecap and your patella, the long tibia with the long fibula right next to it. So we just want to take a closer look at the left ankle. Here we can see the calcaneus and the heel bone, and that's the outer or the lateral portion of the foot and ankle. So remember how Doughty's foot got caught up against the boards, which forced his toes to go up and forced his foot to evert into this position right here. That forced the inside of his ankle bone up flat against the board. So what that's going to do is going to stress and put a lot of tension into this part of his ankle, his deltoid ligament. And we're also concerned at this time for his AITFL, that guy right there. This type of injury kind of reminds me of last year's unfortunate injuries to Trevor Zegras, Sergachev, and Blake Wheeler. They all suffered very similar types of injuries with this exact same mechanism. And what that did to them, it put a significant torsion through their fibula, creating a spiral type of fracture through their fibular bone. This certainly is going to be a concern for Drew Doughty. So at this time, the media is not reporting exactly what Doughty's injury is, but from what we can tell on the replay, it certainly looks like at the very least a high ankle sprain, and at the very most, it could be a fibular fracture. Hopefully for Doughty, this is only a sprain and he is able to play in the regular season this year. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, please have a great night.